Welcome back to English Step by Step. Today, we're elevating a daily routine into something far more nuanced, how we design a day, not just survive it.
Exactly. If beginner English is I wake up, I eat, I work, advanced English is the language of priorities, trade-offs, habits, energy management, and intention. Let's make it real and sophisticated.
Let's start with this simple question that usually reveals a lot. When you wake up, what's the first thing you do, physically and mentally?
Physically, I reach for water. Mentally, I try to resist the impulse to doom scroll. I'm not always successful, but I'm getting better at catching myself before I drift into someone else's agenda.
That's a powerful phrase, someone else's agenda. It captures how the day can be hijacked before it even begins. Do you have a strategy that keeps you grounded?
I do. I've been practicing what I call a 2-minute orientation. I ask myself, what matters today? What can wait? What would make the day feel meaningful when it's over? It's not dramatic, but it shifts my posture from reactive to deliberate.
That's the difference between waking up and arriving. Some mornings I feel like I'm awake, but I'm not fully present. I'm moving, yet mentally foggy, like I'm operating on autopilot.
Autopilot isn't always bad. It can be efficient, but it becomes a problem when autopilot starts deciding your life. Routine should be a scaffold, not a cage.
I love that. A scaffold, not a cage. Speaking of scaffolding, walk me through your morning with advanced precision. Not just actions, but the reasoning behind them.
Sure. I try to front-load the day with the activities that require the most cognitive clarity. I'll do a brief mobility routine because it reduces stiffness and improves focus. Then I prioritize a high-leverage task, something that moves a project forward in a meaningful way.
High leverage task, so not busy work, not email triage, not administrative noise.
Exactly. I used to start with emails because it felt productive, but it was mostly performative productivity. I was responding, not creating. Now I delay messages until after I've produced something tangible.
That's an upgrade in both mindset and language, performative productivity. And your breakfast? Are you a minimalist or do you treat it like a ritual?
A bit of both. I keep it simple, but I've turned it into a ritual by focusing on the experience. I eat without distractions when I can. It's a small practice in attention. The irony is slowing down can make you feel like you have more time.
There's a paradox there. The day feels longer when you're actually present for it. When you rush through everything, the hours evaporate.
Exactly. And language matters here. You're not just doing breakfast, you're cultivating attentiveness. You're training your mind to stay with the moment.
All right, let's transition to work. How do you describe your workday in a way that sounds natural and advanced?
I'd say my day is structured around deep work blocks punctuated by meetings and quick administrative tasks. I also might say, I try to protect my focus early in the day and schedule collaborative tasks later.
Punctuated by meetings, that's elegant. And protect my focus, very natural, very high level. What about when work becomes chaotic?
Then I use language that acknowledges complexity. Today is fragmented, or my schedule is volatile, or I'm juggling competing priorities. That's more precise than simply saying I'm busy.
Volatile schedule is great. It implies unpredictability, and juggling competing priorities signals that the issue isn't time, it's conflicting demands.
Right, and it also gives you a way to set boundaries politely. Instead of I can't, you can say I'm at capacity, or I'm operating at full bandwidth today, or I can take that on but not without renegotiating the timeline.
That last one is extremely useful. I can take it on, but not without renegotiating the timeline. It sounds professional, calm, and clear.
It's also honest. Advanced English isn't about sounding fancy, it's about being precise. Precision creates trust.
Let's add a layer. How do you narrate your day when you're dealing with setbacks?
I might say, I ran into a bottleneck, or the plan encountered friction, or I underestimated the complexity, or I had to recalibrate. Those phrases communicate realism without sounding defeatist.
Recalibrate is powerful. It implies adjustment, not failure. You're still moving, just refining direction.
Exactly. And when something goes well, I avoid vague praise like it was good. I'll say it was productive, it gained momentum, it clarified the next steps, or it removed uncertainty.
Removed uncertainty is a strong metric for progress. Sometimes a day is successful not because you finished everything, but because you made the path forward clearer.
Absolutely. Clarity is underrated.
Let's pivot to the afternoon slump. Most people hit a wall. How do you describe that experience with advanced vocabulary?
I'd say I experience a dip in alertness, or my energy wanes, or my attention starts to fragment. If I'm being candid, I might say I'm mentally saturated.
Mentally saturated is perfect. It implies you've absorbed as much as you can for the moment. What do you do then? Push through or reset?
I try not to romanticize pushing through. If I push too hard, I pay for it later. I'll take a short walk, do a brief reset, or switch to lower intensity tasks that still matter, like planning, organizing, or reviewing.
So you're not stopping, you're modulating, you're adjusting intensity.
Exactly. Modulating is the word. Advanced English often lives in these subtle verbs.
Now let's talk about social interactions during the day. Beginners learn, how are you? Advanced speakers learn how to navigate tone and nuance. What phrases do you use with coworkers?
I use phrases like, how's your workload this week? Or what's on your plate today? Or do you have bandwidth for a quick chat? They're polite, practical, and natural.
What's on your plate is a great idiom, and bandwidth is common in professional environments. What if you need to disagree or push back?
I try to de-escalate while staying firm. I'll say, I see it differently. Or I'm not convinced that approach will scale. Or I'm concerned about the trade-offs. Or that makes sense in theory, but in practice it may backfire.
Trade-offs and scale are strong. They're logical words that reduce emotional conflict. Instead of arguing, you're evaluating.
Exactly. The goal is collaborative truth, not ego.
Now let's move to evening. Many people say, I relax, but relaxation can mean 1,000 things. How do you describe your evenings with richer detail?
I'll say, I decompress, I unwind, I reset, or I transition out of work mode. I might also say, I try to be intentional about how I recover. That's different from mindless distraction.
Recover is interesting. It frames rest as something purposeful. What does intentional recovery look like?
For me, it's reducing stimulation, less noise, fewer screens. I cook something simple. Cooking is grounding because it's physical and immediate. Then I read, preferably something that expands my perspective rather than just numbing me.
That's a key distinction, expanding your perspective versus numbing yourself. Not all rest is equal.
Exactly. And if I do watch something, I try not to binge automatically. I'll choose deliberately, then stop at a reasonable time. The goal is to feel restored, not depleted.
Let's talk about sleep. Advanced speakers can describe sleep quality with nuance. Give us some high-level phrasing.
Sure. I slept fitfully. I woke intermittently. My sleep was shallow. I had restless sleep. Or I slept soundly. You can also say, I woke up feeling refreshed, or I woke up feeling groggy.
Fitfully is a beautiful word, very natural in advanced English, and intermittently is very clear. What's your pre-sleep routine?
I wind down gradually. I dim the lights, avoid heavy conversations late at night, and do a quick mental unload, writing down tasks so my brain stops rehearsing them.
That's the concept of cognitive offloading, externalizing the mental load.
Exactly. And then the day feels complete. Not perfect, complete.
I want to add one more element, storytelling. If you're describing your day to a friend, you don't list tasks, you highlight meaning. How would you narrate your day in a compelling way?
I would frame it around a theme. For example, today was a day of recalibration, or today was about momentum. Then I'd mention one obstacle and one win. Something like, my morning was focused, then the day became fragmented, but I regained control by prioritizing the one task that mattered.
That's cinematic. It has a shift, a tension, and a resolution, like a mini plot.
Exactly. Your day can be a story. And when you learn to narrate it well, you don't just improve English, you improve how you understand your life.
Beautiful. Before we end, let's do a quick advanced speaking drill. I'll say a concept, you respond with a full sentence using sophisticated vocabulary.
Let's do it.
John, busy.
I'm operating at full capacity, so I need to prioritize.